How did you live for a guy in Singapore to eat 2 years of vegan diet, and how did you feel?
We're so used to eating a cocktail of messy foods in our stomach, in our gut, that it allows our certain organs to relax for a little bit, to process less of the things that need to be processed, less meat.
I think I read somewhere you took 56 different supplements, or has that changed in number?
So I think that consumption of supplements is a lot better than topical application. You know, you let your body naturally produce a whole bunch.
So how often would this fast come about? Like once a month?
I figured I've covered the basis for anti-aging, right?
You want to look better.
Yeah, so I've halted the aging process. Or rather, I've slowed the aging process down.
So your whole house is sort of dedicated to anti-aging. It's like anti-aging shrine.
Us as human beings, if we don't do any of this, we're just looking in the mirror every single day and you don't notice anything going on.
And anti-aging is very difficult to document because it's not a disease that you're treating. So you're right.
No, it is a disease.
Yeah.
Death is a disease, right? So I'm trying to prevent death, right?
Yeah.
That's why your body needs to be in tip-top condition to regenerate in the best possible manner.
Welcome to Forever Young, where we explore the wild world of biohacking and the science of staying youthful. I'm Dr. Chai Ling, your guide into the latest in anti-aging, wellness, and advanced aesthetics. Today, we're diving deep into the 60,000 biohacking routine of Nicholas Lin, a Singaporean entrepreneur and founder of Atlas Handcrafted. Nicholas has turned his own home into a high-tech wellness lab, complete with red light therapy beds, self-administered Pico laser treatments, and an intense regimen of 56 supplements daily. His goal? To defy time and feel like he's 27 again. Curious to learn what it really takes to turn back the clock? Join us as Nicholas opens up about his extreme anti-aging practices, the science behind his biohacks, and what drives his relentless pursuit of staying forever young. Well, so nice having you. My first question is, how did you even get started on this anti-aging biohacking journey?
Well, I mean, you see, the thing with anti-aging and biohacking, it needs some sort of trigger. So I started about 8 years ago.
Okay.
Right? So I started about 9 years ago.
Sorry, mind if I ask you how old you are now?
I'm in my 40s.
Okay, so 8 years ago, okay, probably 30s.
So in my early 30s, going through the mid 30s, I was in a very stressful environment. Right, I was an entrepreneur. I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So right now I'm still an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Less stressed. Okay. But back then I was very stressful. I had a lot of personal issues which caused me to a lot of stress as well.
Okay.
And so I first had this epiphany that, you know, I've always been going to the gym and stuff like that, but with terrible results. I've never really, of course, building muscle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's an outcome of going to the gym very regularly since I was a teenager. But I never really thought about it from a longevity or health span perspective.
Yeah.
Right? And then, so moving forward, I was in a very bad place. I was losing my hair. My waistline was out of control.
Okay.
And I figured, you know what? I need to do something.
Yeah.
And this is when I had a small growth in my lower intestines. I thought it was cancerous because my mom had colon cancer.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, she's fine now. But my mom had colon cancer. Then I thought, you know what? I have cancer too. You know what? But I'm in my 30s. How can I die so young?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna die.
Wow.
And then I was like, okay, you know what? It's about inflammation control. So I had this whole idea that everything was about inflammation. So that's when it kind of first started, right? So I did stuff like, you know, I did my green smoothies. I started doing a little bit of fasting to cure the inflammation. And I actually binged the vegan diet for 2 years. I was 2 years a vegan during that time.
Okay.
And during that time that I was a vegan, everything changed. My entire life changed, right? Testosterone level went up and all these things got a lot better.
Right.
But I didn't stay a vegan for a long time. Reason being, I don't think that kind of diet is sustainable. I do think, however, that diet cycling is a sustainable and beneficial thing for the human body.
Yeah.
Yeah. But not a sustained vegan diet throughout the rest of your life.
Right. You go through different phases and different people may have different needs.
And I'm a person which I really like to experiment with things. So I like to experiment with my own body.
Yes.
Things like regrowing my hairline, things like controlling inflammation, controlling blood sugar, maintaining balance in the body so I can find equilibrium.
Okay.
Right? It's not an esoterical concept of balance, but actually biomarkers to be balanced.
Wow, I mean, you're so scientific about it. I mean, were there any doctors or any people that influence you? Because you said you started being an entrepreneur, but you sound like a medical professional. You're talking about all these biomarkers and hormones. How did you even come to know so much about biohacking?
I'm a very curious person, so I think I've read possibly hundreds, if not thousands, of medical journals and stuff like that. It's all available on the internet right now. So we, especially in Singapore, we get fed a whole bunch of crap.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of crap. You know, you have hearsay, you have old wives' tales about, you know, these.
And the fat diets that come and go.
Right, the fat diets that come and go. So what is medically proven is in the journals themselves. So if you take time to read every single thing, you can potentially get better at doing things. So after I went down my whole controlling inflammation, then I was like thinking, hey, you know what? If I can control inflammation, I can control other things.
Right.
Right? I can control my blood sugar. So I went down that whole rabbit hole of trying to control my blood sugar. Right? Because
Did you have problems with blood sugar?
No, I don't. I don't have problems with blood sugar.
Yeah.
But I do have an extended family with problems with blood sugar.
I see.
So my parents are cool. My parents are fine. My dad has high cholesterol. That's normal. He's in his 70s. My mom, after menopause, you know, she has a little bit of higher cholesterol, elevated cholesterol levels. Not extremely high.
Yeah.
Nothing to the point that she needs to take any form of statin. But I figured, you know what? If veganism can cure so many things, right? What else can I do?
Okay.
Then I looked at my hairline and I was like, oh shit, I'm balding.
Yeah.
I'm completely bald. You know, no guys in their mid-30s, they don't really notice this, but it's gone. It's gone. When you start noticing it, you probably have androgenic alopecia at about 50%. It's all gone already.
And the stress probably made it worse.
The stress probably made it worse. I have a personal issue back then as well, you know, and business, of course, is very difficult. You know, I was in a very stressful industry, and it was, it's a good thing I had a few successful exits as well.
Okay.
So that also fueled my ability to have a little bit more time to do things like podcasts as well, and to do things like more research-based things as well.
Yeah.
So I started doing inflammation control, blood sugar control.
And that's all through this vegan diet you're talking about.
This was post-veganism already.
Okay.
Post-veganism, I adopted a more Mediterranean kind of diet to things.
Okay.
I like to think about diet, and people look at really ripped physiques and be like, oh, that's a healthy body. That might not necessarily be a healthy body. Just case in point, I was doing an experiment this year where I deliberately gained 5 kg.
Okay.
I deliberately regained 5 kg. It's to heal the joints. To heal the joints in combination with red light therapy, in combination with, overdosing of glycine.
Why were you having some problems with the joints?
I had a snowboarding issue.
Okay.
So
you're talking about knees.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I think, you know, if you have joint issues, I do think that us as a human species, we have enough knowledge to be able to regress certain things.
Right.
If our bodies and our organs can actually, nobody ever dies from old age, if you think about it. Everybody dies from complications due to old age.
Right.
So I have this feeling that, you know what, I set out a goal, I'm gonna live to 180 years old.
Okay.
Right? Because I'm not gonna die from old age. Nobody's ever died from old
By
age.
180, there'll be nobody to date. You have to date much younger girls.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm okay being single. You know, I'm not married, but you know, I'm not seeing somebody. But it's still, it's 180 years is the theoretical lifespan of the human brain.
Okay.
Right. And if we have the theoretical lifespan of the human brain, it doesn't make sense for our bodies to be breaking down at 90.
Okay.
Right. So I'm sure that, you know, if you look at animals in captivity versus animals in the wild, we humans, we are functioning in the wild.
Right.
We need to form our own form of captivity for ourselves.
Okay.
Animals in captivity live in general 40% longer than in the wild.
Okay.
So that is to say that if we form our own form of captivity, we can potentially live another, I don't know, 40,
Right,
50
with
years.
maybe more controlled factors. Yeah. I'm so interested in your vegan diet, mainly because I tried it and I think I failed after a month because I presume you mean no eggs, no dairy, right?
No eggs, no dairy. It's difficult.
How did you live for a guy in Singapore to eat 2 years of vegan diet? And how did you feel? What was the first few things that you noticed?
Well, I was only vegan for 2 years and I'm not
but
vegan
2
right
years
now.
is pretty good discipline. I'm like a month, not even maybe.
So actually, when I started going vegan, I was just trying it for fun, right? And then I went to Koh Samui, and then I wasn't vegan there. But when I came back, I was vegan for 2 years. Now, the main thing is that you have to let your gut biome adjust, right? You start to have a lot of flatulence, of course, then you start to burp a lot, and then you start to have these kind of interesting runs,
Okay.
right? And it's not a fun experience, but you have to be very controlled with the type of veganism that you do. Because I'm doing veganism not for the animals. I like animals, but I'm not vegan because I want to save the cows.
Yeah.
I'm not vegan because I want to save the environment.
I want to feel the effects.
I want to
right?
feel the
Okay.
effects. So there's always an intention behind every single step that I do.
Yeah.
And as we talk a little bit more, you will see that everything I do is very intentional for health. Now, the vegan diet, it felt great. I mean, testosterone level was through the roof.
Yeah.
I think if we have fed ourselves meat for the longest time, we are so used to eating a cocktail of messy foods in our stomach, in our gut, that it allows our certain organs to relax for a little bit, to process less of the things that need to be processed, less meat. It's just like fasting as well. Why do we fast? If we fast, it's because we trigger autophagy.
Right.
We trigger autophagy to heal the different organs. It's the same thing. You're just healing.
Did you
different-
fast together with the vegan diet, or those were separate?
Those are
things?
separate things.
Okay.
Those are separate things.
So did the vegan diet help you achieve the aim you set out?
Yep.
Okay.
The vegan diet basically helped me help me regain mobility.
Okay.
I like to think that because of my vegan diet, I'm able to move and I'm able to perform about 10 years younger.
Oh, okay. Did you lose weight as a result of the
I lost weight as a result of the diet, but that was not the main intention of the diet. But it was a good side effect, of course.
Yeah, of
because
course.
back then I was quite big
Yeah.
already, and that was a good side effect. I think the side effect of being in good health is looking better,
Okay.
right? So generally, people that look good and feel good, they are in better health than people that look in a terrible, wretched
For
state.
sure.
Yeah.
So after a vegan diet, you said you moved on to the Mediterranean. So how did that switch come about, and why?
Well, just for convenience, really.
Because it's much easier, right?
I started wavering in my whole veganism because I needed some form of social flexibility.
Yeah, I think that's hard to be.
It's difficult. Social flexibility is very challenging because when you go out and you tell people that you're vegan, it's like, yeah, man, just eat a steak, And then I was just like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Steaks aren't that
You want
bad.
to still have friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I suppose.
Yeah.
I suppose.
So, so you're still on a Mediterranean diet now.
I'm on right now this year, I'm on a Mediterranean but beef forward Mediterranean diet, which makes no sense, right? Because Mediterranean diets don't advocate for a lot of beef.
Yeah.
But I generally do about 2 steaks a day.
Okay.
You
Is that not close to a carnivore diet? No.
No.
Okay.
No,
so you still have your vegetables, fresh fruits.
I still do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's actually very balanced across.
Fresh fruits, a little bit of vegetables, honey, and I give myself some flexibility to have whatever once in a while.
How about alcohol, coffee? The things that people always ask about.
I take a lot of coffee.
Okay.
So I do coffee every single day. Alcohol with intention.
Okay.
Okay. So if someone calls me out and say, hey, let's go have a drink, I'm going to have soda water. I'm going to have a juice. Because you know what? There's no purpose. There's no reason for me to drink. At home, I don't drink.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Right? But if I'm at a big event, like a whiskey tasting or something like that, yes, I would enjoy whiskey. I would
That's
enjoy
very
red wine,
flexible. I
stuff
think
like
that's very doable, Yeah.
It's doable, but people lack the social resilience to be able to do that, or rather the discipline. People are like, they give in to peer pressure. Because there are all these vices. People know, the basic crux of anti-aging or age reversal is that you're trying to heal your body faster than you degenerate.
Yeah.
Right? But we are involved in so many vices every single day. Right? We have smoking, we have, just driving outside is bad for you. Being under the sun, and people will tell me, oh, I don't want to put on sunblock. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why don't you want to put on sunblock? That's the number one thing you should do. If you do anything, put on sunblock.
Yes.
Right? But and people are like, oh yeah, maybe they don't drive, or they're out in the hot sun every single day, and they just get destroyed.
Yeah, all these low-hanging fruits should be easy to do.
The low-hanging fruits are really easy to tackle. So tackle the low-hanging fruits first.
Yeah.
And then make sure you are in a good lifestyle, in a good state for your body to heal and regenerate itself. Okay. And then when you consume better quality food, or you do certain protocols, or for example, you use energy devices for aesthetics.
Oh, I'm very interested in those, yeah.
You do energy devices for aesthetics, then you can heal better.
Right.
Would you say if, for example, you do Altera or Frexo for someone, and this person is chain smoking and binge drinking and eating at McDonald's for 5 times a day, this person is not going to heal as well as the person who really takes care of herself.
That's absolutely
right?
true.
So yeah.
How about intermittent fasting? All my listeners always ask me questions because it's like the latest craze. Do you do that, or it's
I did do that for a bit. I
Yeah.
don't think it's very effective. I
Yeah.
don't think it's necessary. I do think that the whole sleep cycle, as long as you get 8-9 hours of sleep every single day, and I do try to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every
that's
single
excellent.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so you're quite rigid about your sleep time? You go to bed like 9 p.m.
No, I don't go to bed at 9. I go to bed at like 2.
Oh, but you get your.
But I get up
Yeah.
at
Okay.
10.
Okay.
You know, I have
It
the
always-
flexibility to be able to do that. Of course, certain times, you know, I have meetings in the morning, you know, I have to get up a little bit earlier. But I think I've built up enough resilience to be able to counteract those bad side effects.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, you talk about sleep deprivation. Sleep deprivation, the number one side effect of sleep deprivation is cognitive impairment, right?
Yeah.
So if you have cognitive impairment, there are other ways, pharmaceutical ways of getting better at that, or interventions, supplementation interventions.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
you know, things like on days that I really, if I do only have 6 hours of sleep or 5 hours of sleep, I would increase my supplementation of creatine, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting because the next thing we're going to move into is the supplements that you take. I think I read somewhere you took what, 56 different supplements, or has that changed in number?
It varies. It's very hard to quantify how many pills I
Yeah.
take a day, because if you talk about the exact number of pills,
Depends on the doses,
it
right?
depends on the
Yeah.
doses, it depends on the day as well. Some of them I take in powder form.
Okay.
You know, and
True.
like 5 grams is
Yeah.
5 pills. I'm not going
Okay.
to count that.
Yeah.
You know, so but generally
Oh.
it hovers around 50 to 60 pills or 60 different.
Is that one shot in the morning, or you kind of dose
I
it out?
spread it out. I have a morning stack. I have an afternoon stack, which mainly contains mostly of the collagens and
Right.
some of the glycine, caffeine and stuff like that. And then I have a night stack as well. So morning, evening and night.
Right. That's
Yeah.
very good. So, I mean, just probably you don't want to read out all the supplements that you take, but if there are the interesting ones, things that you think that people should all be taking, what would they be?
Glycine and creatine.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think glycine and creatine. I think glycine is a very under.
I take
comfort-
glycine.
Yeah, I've been doing an experiment with glycine. I take about 20 grams a day right now. 20 grams is like a lot.
What's the difference you see with glycine?
I do think that glycine really helps with facial aesthetics,
Okay.
being the precursor to glutathione. Because I did an experiment where I was doing a dose, I did 2 months where I was doing reduced glutathione.
Okay.
So I was doing reduced glutathione, and then I did another 2 months where I OD'd on glycine. You know, I don't recommend people to OD on
Were
anything.
there any side effects
but
like diarrhea? Or
no side effects from glycine or from reduced glutathione.
Okay.
But I do think that glutathione, I mean, there's so much research to say that, you know what, if you pop it as a pill, there's 0 side effects. Even if you do it as a UV drip, which I really don't think that people should be doing UV drips in
Yeah.
random clinics in
I think it's
Malaysia.
not allowed in Singapore.
It's not
You
allowed in
do it
Singapore.
overseas.
Yeah, and- but I
people do
don't-
it for the skin whitening effect.
Yeah, it lasts for a day.
Yeah, a few days.
It lasts for a few days. So if you go for a glutathione drip, I had a friend, she went for a glutathione drip in Hong Kong, you know, and
Yeah.
she said, oh, I'm getting fairer. It's like, you get fairer for a day. That's
Yeah,
about it.
very, very short lasting. That's what I found my patients.
And there are, from long-term exposure to direct glutathione supplementation, there are quite a bit of negative side effects.
Okay.
Right? So glycine has been very well studied.
Yeah.
And it being the precursor to glutathione, and as a signaling factor for collagen building, it makes a lot of sense. So I think that consumption of supplements is a lot better than topical application. You know, you let your body naturally produce a whole bunch.
Did you notice any difference with when you OD'd on glycine?
Yeah, that's why I've been doing it for about a year. I feel great. I think.
Did people say to you?
Yeah, they say my skin looks great.
Okay.
I mean, I people tell me I don't look my age.
Okay.
Right, and like I do think that generally it's helped quite a fair bit.
Okay.
It's helped quite a fair bit. When I first started on my extreme protocol.
Yeah.
So this was after my whole, you know, Mediterranean, you know, controlling inflammation, then
Yeah.
controlling blood sugar. Controlling blood sugar, I figured, you know, I'll take berberine, I'll take metformin.
Yeah.
Don't ask me where I get my metformin from, but you know, it was not from a doctor. of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
And then, so I figured, you know what? Let me go and take a lot of blood tests. I
Yes.
think I need to take a lot of blood tests.
So you don't have a continued glucose monitoring device, you just take your blood test.
So there were 2 years, I was taking blood tests every 3 months. I was going to Camden and I was taking a blood test every 3 months.
Wow, okay.
And then, yes, it costs money.
Yeah.
But every single time after I take my blood test, I'll notice health markers. Okay, my health markers improve. Okay, great. Now I can add on more things.
And what were you looking at? You're looking at your glucose,
Testosterone,
cholesterol, liver.
cholesterol, lipid levels. I was looking at, I did VO2 max testing and stuff like that. At home, I do have a prick test for blood sugar.
Okay.
Once in a while I do that. I would show you my logs, but it's a lot.
So you actually, how often do you actually test your blood sugar levels?
I do it in phases.
Okay.
So every month I do a couple of rounds.
Okay.
So I would say that maybe 20 times a year. Not like, because I'm not diabetic or pre-diabetic, so I don't really need that. I do blood pressure testing. I have my own device at home.
So it sounds like for you, blood sugar control is very important. You take a lot of berberine and metformin, keeping the insulin low, right?
Keeping
because
it
you believe that the insulin
consistent.
Yeah.
Consistent. I don't have a constant monitor because I think at this stage, after doing it for so many years, I think I have a good feel about what works for my body. And you can actually tell that when you are having a crash from a sugar high.
Yes.
So like I try not to consume way too much carbohydrates and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So carbohydrates, probably no processed food.
Less processed food. It's impossible to go no processed food these days, but much reduced amount of processed food for sure.
You still have 3 meals a day?
3, 4, maybe some days 5. It doesn't matter. I don't really track anymore.
You don't really track?
I don't really track because as long as I'm getting some good quality food into my system, I think it's okay. We talked a little bit about diet cycling.
Yeah.
So diet cycling, I think it's important. So there will be a period in the future where I would cycle on to doing a strong fast.
Okay.
Maybe a 48-hour fast.
Okay.
Because that would be a cycling off a now carnivorous Mediterranean diet into a fasting style diet just for a period.
Just to stress your body a little bit for
Correct.
homeostasis.
Correct.
I see. So how often would this fast come about? Like once a month?
No, the fasting?
Yeah.
Once every quarter.
Okay.
Once every quarter.
That's very doable.
very
I'm so
doable.
glad you're giving us things that we all can do.
Yeah, but sometimes I fast for 72 hours, That's not doable for most people.
Yeah, that's a little. I think 48, I think if you have to finish dinner and then don't have breakfast, I think maybe you can do 2 days. Yeah.
The most difficult part about fasting for most people is that they have this oral fixation. They need to bite something. They need to eat something, and then like they can chew gum or something like that. But that's still not good for you, right? But you just need to, everything is mind over matter, right? Just get busy for 48 hours. How hard can it be?
Yes.
Just get busy and then you'll be done.
Okay.
Right?
What's the longest fast you've ever been on?
72 hours.
Okay.
72 hours.
And that's done in Singapore, or do you
That's
go
done
to
in
Koh Samui? Okay.
That's done in Singapore.
Well, you are somebody with really high discipline. All the things that you do, I don't know if I can swallow 50 over tablets. I think, I cherry pick my supplements.
You can just dump it into a nice smoothie and it's not going to be a nice tasting smoothie, but it works.
Yeah.
It works.
So, but on top of the supplements, what I'm really interested in, and I'm sure what many girls are interested in, is all the aesthetic devices that you have. I heard you spend is it 60,000?
60 plus thousand.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more now.
Men usually will spend that money into a car or like audio, but you spend on aesthetic devices. We love you.
Oh, thank you. Men generally, you think about it, men generally live shorter than women, right? And it's not because men have a lot shorter lifespans, but because men engage in more stupid activities. If you think about it, right?
He said it.
I said, what is like a relaxing time for a guy? I'll play
Soccer,
watch soccer, drink beer, go and play golf under the hot sun. And girls, what do? Go for shopping, go for spa days and stuff like that. You know what? Golf is not a game for me. Soccer is not really a game for me as well. But I like the sun. I like to see the sun. I like to be in the shade while seeing the sun and stuff like that.
Totally like
but
me.
Talking about energy devices, things like there's so much research, and energy devices goes into age reversal as compared to anti-aging.
Yeah.
Because I figured I have covered the basis for anti-aging, right?
You want to look better.
Yeah. So I've halted the aging process. Or rather, I've slowed the aging process down. Like, there's a biological age of maybe 0.6, 0.68 or something like that. And now, how do I repair the damage that has been caused from my 40 years of existence, not taking care of myself?
Yeah.
right? And so that's where we come in with a whole bunch of different experiments.
Yes.
Right?
Tell us.
Shockwave therapy for joint repair, for example.
Okay, so you have the shockwave therapy
Yes.
because obviously you snowboard and you have joints.
Correct.
So that's something you got and you administer.
Red light and shockwave therapy.
The red light's for the joints, not for the skin.
I use it for the skin as well.
Okay.
I use it for the skin. So I have a red light bed at home. I have a red light panel.
How often do you use that?
I used to do it every day.
Oh my God, you must have a lot of friends coming to your house.
No, I got zero friends coming to my house because
You want
none
to
of
be
them do this.
friends.
None of
What
them
is
do
this?
this.
Okay.
Okay.
It's great. Okay.
I used my red light bed. In fact, it's in my protocol. I can show it to you later.
Oh, your protocol is like a manifesto, like a
It
communist.
should be. It should be. I should write a book about it.
Sure.
I should write a book. In fact, I was trying to do something where I was doing some YouTube shorts a while back, but that never really took off because I realized I did that like 2 years ago. I think I needed a little bit more experience before starting
Yes,
anything.
you should totally do it now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. I was thinking about doing a podcast as well.
Wow.
You should be on.
Yeah, I want to talk about it, but I don't have a red light bed at home, so we want to hear more about that.
So we have the red light bed.
Pico laser.
We got the
I
Pico
have that,
laser.
but in the clinic, can you imagine you have it?
Yeah, so I have Pico laser at home. I have a HIFU machine at home.
So with the Pico laser, you would do it yourself
So
on your face, obviously.
if you think about
pigmentation,
Pico laser, whole body,
whole body, really.
just for fun.
Oh my God, I
Just for
think you
fun.
have better body skin.
It's an experimentation, right? It's
Yeah.
an experimentation.
What
Because
did you notice any difference? How often do you do it?
So I've done HIFU throughout my whole body as well.
Really tightening everything?
Tightening everything, just for
Oh my
fun.
God, we are all very jealous.
And if you think about HIFU, I mean, what you go out to medical aesthetics, $4,000 just
Yeah.
for the face, okay,
Yeah.
or Fraxel, it's expensive. So you might as well spend, you get a used Altera machine or something like that for $20,000, $30,000.
But you know, you must have a great pain threshold because these treatments are not comfortable.
I've been told my pain threshold is through the roof.
That's crazy.
It's not actually good for you.
Yeah.
Right? I've been, I kid you not, I was just in Malaysia recently for massage. I told this guy.
Harder.
Yeah, and he cracked my rib.
You are crazy. I'm always saying not so hard, not so hard.
and I have a hairline fracture on my rib, you know.
Oh my goodness.
Which I was cool with. I was sore for a couple of days, but I think I mean it's just a rib, right?
Yeah.
So it will.
But you do have
Yeah, I have a very high pain tolerance.
So with all these whole repertoire of machines, how often do you do them? Do you do them while you're watching TV, or do you like have a set protocol? Monday, HIFU, Tuesday.
I do it in microdoses.
Oh, okay. So not very strong, so that you won't have side effects.
It depends. It depends, really. So the thing which I'm experimenting with right now is hair regrowth with very deep micro needling.
Okay.
RF microneedling.
And you do that yourself with you have a machine that does.
I do it myself for the hairline. And
How do you find it?
It's extremely painful, extremely bloody. I have no numbing cream. I don't use lidocaine.
It's crazy. Please let me give you a tube of numbing cream.
Wow, please. Recently, I've been doing RF microneedling on my face to a depth of 1 to 2 millimeters. I go out for that
deep, yeah.
with exosomes.
Yeah.
And that is not something I would recommend doing at home by yourself. That is almost impossible to do at home by yourself because like doing the amount of microneedling on the face, even if you have for example, I don't have a Morpheus 8 machine. I would love one, but it's too expensive.
Oh, you can come and try it in my clinic, but it's so painful. I think
The downtime is what,
Yes,
2 to 3 weeks?
Yeah,
Downtime?
it's 2 to 3 weeks.
I can't do 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, so I do it for my patients, but I've never found the opportunity to do it myself yet.
It's extremely painful. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
It's extremely painful.
Yeah.
So I think that eventually that's on the table. So eventually I would.
But with
do
numbing
something
cream
like
and
that.
everything is...
Yeah, numbing cream, that could be better.
Yeah, okay.
But yes,
So you actually do all these things at home yourself. What do your friends think?
a lot of them don't know about it.
Oh, they don't know. Okay,
lot of
but
them
then
don't
now
know
they're
about
going to know because this is going to be broadcast.
That's fine.
Unless we only
That's
show
fine.
this in Ukraine or something.
Because
Yeah.
usually people know that I take a lot of pills. People know that
Okay.
I have a lot of pharmaceutical intervention for health
But
span.
they must look at you and think you look younger and younger. Something's...
Yeah, I have a few friends that I don't see them very often. Every single time I see them, it's like, what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? Because I used to, when I was in my mid-30s, I asked some of my staff, it's like, hey, how old do you think I am? They are like, maybe 52, and then I was like, 52, I'm like, yeah, this is terrible, I need to do something. So HIFU, I use it for a lot of it for my stomach area and stuff like that.
Because you lost weight?
I got a little
Loose
of loose skin.
Okay.
And it's not a tremendous amount of loose skin that I have, but I think that because I'm not a medical professional, I don't really want to do HIFU too much on my face area because if I hit a nerve, I could get facial paralysis. So if I do Fraxel or HIFU, which I have not done outside, maybe one day,
Yeah.
I mean, I look for you guys to do
Yes.
it. I think Fractal is something on the table as well.
Yeah.
But HIFU for my body as well as like my stomach area to a depth of 9 millimeters, that makes some sense to do that, because I would assume it's exponentially like more expensive to do it on a regular basis at a clinic.
Yeah.
You know, I might just buy a machine.
I see. And you've been seeing results?
Yeah.
And no regrets on all these machines that you've bought? You could have spent 60,000 on
It's still intrinsic value.
Okay.
If I can still sell them eventually,
Right.
I guess to some other
So you
place
think
or
like a
some
real
crazy person.
entrepreneur?
You know? So there is value to it. I don't think I'll ever get rid of red light. I don't think I'll ever get rid of microneedling.
Okay.
I don't think I'll ever get rid of Pico laser. That was optional for me right now at this stage. But I don't think I'll ever get rid of these simple interventions that I can do myself.
Okay.
Or recently I got a sauna as well.
Okay. Infrared sauna.
No,
Oh.
I don't like infrared saunas.
Okay.
I know the benefit of that.
Yeah.
But I prefer a nice steam room.
Okay.
So I got one of the steam saunas.
Right,
You know?
okay.
I just, it's more therapeutic for me than results driven.
Yeah.
Things like ice bath. I have an ice bath at home.
Do you do the hot cold therapy
I
thing?
do contrast therapy every month.
Okay.
My ice bath is very janky setup. I just bought like a tub from Lazada for like $20.
That's good enough because what you need is just the cold.
Yeah, I know. So there's no point spending thousands and thousands of dollars.
I'm chicken. I can't do ice bath.
But ice baths, I like to take it to the extreme where, you know, I sit in there until I feel the blood turn cold.
How long is that?
7 minutes sometimes.
That is very
I'm not very
long.
sure if that's long.
That's quite long.
And then I get out and I take a hot shower and I don't, because back then I didn't have a steam room.
Yeah.
So now I do.
So your whole house is sort of dedicated to anti-aging. It's like anti-aging shrine.
I have a section of my home cornered off for the home
Yeah.
office, and then that is also the anti-aging facility that I
my
have
goodness.
over there. So that's where all my machines are.
Yes.
And I think this year I bought a facial thingy analysis thing.
Okay.
So you put your face in, it shines all kinds of different lights, you know, it picks up pigmentation. And the reason why I bought that, and that wasn't expensive, that's some from.
So that you know if your skin's improved.
Correct, because you
So
need,
then you can document.
Correct.
You are like a little scientist.
because you need certain markers
Yeah.
to see whether or not you're improving
Okay.
or regressing.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's how you know.
interesting.
Because
Okay.
you know, whenever you go to a doctor, they'll take pictures of you.
Yes.
So they can have visual representation. But us as human beings, if we don't do any of this,
Yes.
we're just looking in the mirror every single day, and you don't notice anything
Yes.
is going
And
on.
anti-aging is very difficult to document because it's not
Yeah.
a disease that you're treating.
Yeah.
So you're right.
No, it is a disease.
Yeah.
Death is a disease, right? So I'm trying to prevent death, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the
So
things.
what are the craziest things that you have done? Have you ever done anything like injecting yourself or anything that
no.
you have tried that didn't work for you?
I think the most visually dramatic thing was the whole hairline microneedling.
Right.
Yeah, because that, I think, if you tell men in their 40s, hey, you know, you can actually regrow your hair, they'll be like, yeah, you know what, I'll just go for hair transplant eventually.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know what, you're not stopping the problem.
Yeah.
You're not reducing your DHT in the
Yeah.
scalp area. So eventually you will still go bald, right? And so I learned that when I was in my 20s, my dad was just like, hey, just spray minoxidil.
Right.
You know what? So I was like spraying minoxidil. I didn't know what to do, right, in my 20s. And then I was still losing my hair, right? Then I figured, hey, you know what? Minoxidil grows more hair, increases blood circulation in the area, but it doesn't stop the loss. So you need to find the root cause of the problem
Okay.
and stop that before you can do something about
So we
it.
found the hairline microneedling.
So the root cause, of course, DHT blockers, you know,
Yeah.
finasteride.
Yeah.
I do a microdose of finasteride every single day.
Is that oral or just topical?
Oral.
Okay.
I do oral finasteride every single day. I take saw palmetto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I take saw palmetto as well, in addition to oral finasteride. And I do a ketoconazole shampoo
Right.
to
Yes.
strip the DHT in the hairline.
Okay. Have you seen the difference with
yeah.
this protocol? And how
of
long
course.
does it take? Because I'm very
Yes.
sure I'll get questions in the comments from men that will be asking you how long does it take?
It takes years.
Okay, take years.
It takes years.
So they have to do this and they have to probably go for microneedling and takes years to see the difference, but it does work.
And the thing with microneedling is
Okay.
that in order for it to be effective, it needs to go to a certain depth.
Yeah.
And
It is
men-
uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable. And men have a very bad pain tolerance compared to women.
Yes.
Women have better pain tolerance levels
Yes.
as compared to men, right? And if we look at that as the only way to intervene such that you are accelerating this rate of hair regrowth, then most men would just chicken out.
Yeah.
Yeah, most men would just chicken out. And then they would say things like, oh, you know what? I can see some baby hairs. Baby hairs are not baby hairs. They are hairs dying, right? Because they're shrinking and shrinking and shrinking until that whole area becomes a dead zone,
Yeah.
right? So I've worked very hard in the last like 3-4 years to push my hairline back at least 3 centimeters.
Okay.
To get the dead zones back down.
Wow. That's very substantial.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Because men usually find the hairline receding, even just to stay the same, they are probably putting minoxidil every day just to make sure. So that's actually very substantial.
And minoxidil is affordable,
Yes.
but it's still an expense. So you might as well, if you're going to make that expense, you might as well accelerate it using an intervention from an energy device, or you know, you can do. I guess I've heard about PRP and stuff like that. I never really considered that.
But then you have to draw your blood, spin the stem cells and everything.
I might as well just destroy my hairline. And it all boils down to the same theory, right?
Yeah.
You're damaging the area so it can regrow better.
Okay.
It can heal in its better state.
Micro-injuries to
Micro-injuries,
stimulate healing. Okay.
And that's why your body needs to be in tip-top condition
Yeah.
to regenerate in the best possible manner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now a sensitive question. How about plastic surgery? Have you ever been for plastic surgery, and would you consider plastic surgery?
I think at this stage, no, I have not been for plastic surgery.
Yeah.
I don't think I might consider plastic surgery if something traumatic happens.
Okay.
I
But you're more actually down the anti-aging path, and it's not just
I think there are ways to stimulate things like fillers and stuff. I don't think fillers are generally bad, but I think we can be very careful with energy devices such that we don't destroy our facial fat.
And we don't even need it in the future. So you are really preventing the aging.
Correct.
Whereas a lot of people, by the time they've aged, and they've gone for the facelift and all.
Yeah, of course, if
I feel still young enough to actually make a difference. Yeah.
I hope so.
Yes.
If I started when I was in my teens, that would be even better. But like things like facial fat, that's I think what most people in their 50s and their 60s, they're most worried about. That's why they start injecting a lot of fillers into it. The thing with fillers is that fillers will eventually, sometimes, if not done by a very skilled practitioner, might move, right? And they move about. I do think that Botox is okay.
Okay.
I do think Botox is a good way to prevent wrinkles and stuff like that.
So maybe minimal and
minimal. I mean,
just
Botox is not plastic
probably,
surgery.
Yeah, not remove.
It's
non-invasive aesthetics, just a supplement what you have. Yeah.
Things like I was considering, but I don't think I will, a thread lift.
Okay.
I was, but I don't.
That's minimally
Yeah, that's also
invasive.
minimally
Yeah, very
invasive.
minimally invasive.
But I figured if I do a thread lift, I might as well try doing it with Fraxel and stuff like that. I do like energy devices much more than invasive
Okay.
or minimally invasive,
Yeah.
just because it is also helping with your. It uses your own body
Yeah,
to go and regenerate.
That's
so
absolutely
that also, I guess the risk of complication is a lot less as well.
Yes, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of energy devices, so any form of
Fits that.
device, but not I haven't gone down.
And you
that
have the
path.
patience to do it. I think people actually do the more invasive stuff because they don't have the patience to do them many times.
Exactly.
So they want immediate results. Same with exercise. People go for liposuction because they don't want to do that.
But I have heard good things about cool sculpting and M-Sculpt and stuff like that. Yeah.
So that's also minimally invasive. Several sessions.
Yeah.
So how about exercise? Can you share with us your exercise routine?
So I used to be a lot more intense with exercising.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
gym and stuff like that. Especially in the last few years. This year, I did an experiment for joint rejuvenation.
Yes.
And
You mentioned you had
Yes.
knee issues.
I wanted to get my knee issue back to its teenage state.
Oh, how do we do that? Yeah.
And I'm not very sure yet.
Okay.
But so I started doing multiple forms of glycine, multiple forms of collagen, I mean.
Okay.
You know, I'm more
Already?
careful, oral collagen, red light therapy and stuff like that. But also every few days, I do this joint flexibility kind of training.
Oh, how's your
I do mobility training. So there's this guy on YouTube, Ben Patrick. He's the knees over toes guy, you know, and he advocates for certain movements to really heal the way that we move.
Okay.
So, you know, we always move in a forward motion. You know, what about moving backwards or moving sideways? Nobody really thinks about that. So you're always stressing your joints in a specific, continuous, repetitive movement. And that's very bad, you know? So if you're trying it the other way and stuff like that,
Okay.
you know? And this happened because I think 2 years ago I was in Japan and then I was supposed to kneel down or squat, like kneel down in that really Japanese position, you know. And then I just had that snowboarding injury not too long ago, and I was like, oh man, that's quite painful, you know.
Okay.
You know, and I'm a pretty good snowboarder, you know, so that's very unfortunate.
Yes.
That's really unfortunate. So I did that, and I figured, let me give myself a little bit more buffer. Let me gain 5 kg this year. So I deliberately.
Why would gaining 5 kg help with the knee? Because I thought you would want to lose weight so that you have less weight on your knee.
I don't think so. I think you put more pressure on your knees. It's okay to put more pressure as long as you're feeding it the right things.
Okay.
You know, things like I had a very bad neck as well, so I fixed that this year.
All right. Also with the YouTube exercises you were doing?
Some of the YouTube exercises, some of the mobility, I do think I did do a round of, well, you know, your basic supplements, consulting, glucosamine, and stuff like that. But I do think that the biggest game changer was specific types of collagen.
Right.
And people talk about collagen. There are many types of different collagen, but the problem with collagen on the market is that they don't specify which types you're getting.
Okay, so maybe it's not being absorbed.
Yeah, it's not being absorbed, or you know, and I think glycine helps a lot as well.
Okay.
So I'm a big fan of glycine, huge fan of glycine.
So you face all your joint problems by using supplements and maybe changing your exercise from the high impact thing to it sounds like this one is like a really like body weight, and it really is gentle on your joints, which is great. Yeah.
I don't run at all. I stopped running
because those are repetitive stresses.
Repetitive stresses, so I started rucking.
Rucking, okay, that's a good one. You
carrying about 20 kg and just walking.
How far is your rucking?
About 2 kilometers. Okay. Not far at all.
But still carrying 20
kgs. 15 to 20 kgs, because it's got, the scientific papers show that there's about 60% less impact as compared to running.
Yes.
You know, of course, it's more impactful as walking.
Yeah.
As compared to walking, but compared to running, so I don't want to run anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen somebody who's a avid runner and they always complain about some joint issue.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not good. Into my 70s or 80s, you know, that's not going to be good.
You want to preserve all your joints, and you want to exercise for anti-aging, not to build too much muscles, because that may not necessarily be anti-aging, right? Yeah.
Because you also don't want to be too muscle bound as well, you know. Too muscle bound. Maybe one day I might consider, when later in life, you know, when I might need TRT and stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
But that is later in life.
You will consider testosterone replacement therapy?
I will.
Okay.
I will. I do think that that's a natural progression.
Okay.
Because, especially if my testosterone levels have dropped significantly. During COVID, my testosterone levels did drop significantly.
Because of inactivity?
No, I do think it's a side effect from the vaccine.
Okay.
I do think it's a side effect from the vaccine, and I spoke to a few doctors about it, and they said that they did have some patients that after the vaccine they had ED. So like something like a vaccine-related vasal issue.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
And not that I had ED, but
because you were tracking your bloods quite closely, so perhaps that happened to a lot of men, but not many people actually.
Not many people will talk about it. People might just think, hey, you know, that's aging, you know.
Yes, a lot of people brush off a lot of their symptoms as aging.
Yeah. And that's not true, because it happened very suddenly. So, you know, from a testosterone level of about 800, it dropped all the way down to 200.
That's quite substantial.
I was basically a eunuch, right?
Yeah.
So then I was like, so I went down this whole rabbit hole once again after to increase my testosterone.
Okay, and what did you do to do it?
Increasing testosterone naturally, you know, so things like Tonka Ali, lifting heavy weights. So during COVID, of course, nobody went to the gym.
Okay.
I bought a squat rack at home, among other things. So yeah, I do have weights at home and stuff like that. And I was doing extremely heavy weights for my body weight at least.
Yeah.
And I've always done heavy weights for bench pressing, but I've never really done heavy weights for other things like squats and stuff like that. Because I was very dominant when I was in my younger years. I was very dominant with bench pressing.
I see.
And I think I formed a lot of muscle imbalances in that way as well.
Yeah.
Because I kept on doing that one exercise.
Have you ever tried going for a DEXA scan to see?
I thought about doing that. I don't think I need that.
Yeah.
DEXA scans, it's good to see where the fat is in the body. I think I want to optimize a little bit more before going for something like that. I don't. yeah, that is on the table.
That's
sure.
on the table,
That's on the
right?
table,
Yeah. You're already doing so much, and I think you're already, tracking yourself quite well.
Yeah, it's just one more thing to
One
know,
more thing,
one more thing to do, one more thing to analyze.
This lifestyle you have, do you influence your parents? Because you mentioned that your
Yep.
dad has cholesterol. So are they into this as well? And do they take the supplements? Do you lay out the supplements for them to take?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, like whenever
choice.
I'm home, right? So I have my supplement stash at home, and then I have a supplement stash in another place. But every single time that I'm home, every single morning or once in a while in the morning, right?
Give them one away.
I'll say, hey, I think you should do this. So I got my dad to take creatine.
Yeah.
I got my dad to take zinc as well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get him to take magnesium, not yet.
Yeah.
But at least these
I
are
love creatine and magnesium. I think creatine and magnesium is actually very important.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's very underrated in terms of the supplement stack in Singapore.
Yeah.
Singaporeans generally, and there's a lot of crap in Singapore. You buy on Lazada, you have no idea what's inside.
The quality is also important, right?
And I think the government should do a little bit more about controlling some of these things, because people are peddling it on live streams and stuff like that. Just a couple of years ago, people were selling Tonka Ali from Malaysia, and it was laced. It was recalled because it was laced with tadalafil.
Oh my gosh!
So
okay.
of course it works.
Yeah, of course it works. Yeah,
it works. But you know what? It's still not selling the real thing.
They're not selling the right things. So that's absolutely true.
But it definitely does work, right?
Yeah.
But
so besides these supplements, are there like medicines that you're taking that you believe will work? Like you mentioned metformin. Are you taking, there's some doctors that are taking things like rapamycin.
I bought rapamycin,
Yeah.
but I decided not to take it.
Okay.
Still sitting at home. I think that's a little bit out there. I mean,
Yeah, it's a little scary, but people think that rapamycin has quite a lot of scientific data.
I think everybody's looking for a quick fix, right? So rapamycin, metformin, they promise quite drastic fixes.
But you still have to take it regularly. It's still anti-aging. Yeah.
You have to take it regularly,
Yeah.
but it's a much quicker fix than, let's say, you would to take berberine. So I think berberine in place of metformin these days.
Okay.
Absolutely the same in terms of blood sugar control. I don't see why people would take metformin if they don't have diabetes. So I'm completely weaning myself off. I've already weaned myself off metformin completely.
Yeah. So it sounds like your protocol also has evolved, which is actually very good. As you read more papers, you actually evolve. So how does that influence your friends and even your partner? Do you try to get everybody involved, or do you just keep it,
I try. They think I'm crazy.
You don't lace your partner's drinks with some supplements?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
But I did change the way my mom thinks about supplementation.
Okay.
Right? Because my mom in her 70s as well, she was complaining a couple of years ago. She was complaining, you know what? I have these joint pains when I wake up.
Yes.
Then I was like, hey, you know what? Take some collagen. Okay. And my mom was like, I'm not so sure. Yeah. I'm like, what's the worst that could happen? You're in your 70s. The only side effect of collagen is a protein, is that you might look better. That's about it. So she took it, right? She took collagen for a week. And she was like, hey, you know what? My joint pains are kind of gone.
Oh, okay.
Right? And she was like, maybe it's not the collagen. Maybe it's just the joint pain just went away.
Oh, so they will think of other reasons as well. Okay.
Yeah. But she's continued on with collagen. And then she went for a holiday. She didn't bring her collagen. Right, I was there in Japan together with them, and once in a while we take these family trips, right? And I was there in Japan together with them and my brother, and my mom ran out of collagen because she didn't bring it. So it was I think a 16-17 day holiday, pretty long. And towards the second week, she was like, you know what, my joints are hurting again. I quickly ran to the store, ran to Family Mart, bought those Meiji collagen. I was like, take this.
Yeah.
You know what? And take turmeric.
Yeah.
Take turmeric. We bought those small little
So
bottles.
you're like her own anti-aging physician, and now she's a believer.
Yeah, now she's a believer because on that trip, 2 days later, her joints stopped aching again. And it was like, yeah, that makes sense. So I'm controlling her dosages, I got her from 10 grams down to 5, now up again to about 7.5 grams every day. I don't think that there's any negative side effect. She takes the powdered version, not the bottled drinks, because bottled drinks, they taste good.
Yeah, but then the sugar and everything.
Yeah, the sugar and everything.
I think the worst that can happen with that is that if you don't buy it from a reputable supplier, maybe it just doesn't work because it doesn't have enough collagen in it. So you are throwing your money away, but then we throw our money away in so many different ways
on different things
already.
as well. So another thing that I got her onto is vitamin K2.
Oh, okay.
A trans methacholine.
And does she feel a difference with that? What kind of difference?
Well, I think she's got a little bit of osteoporosis, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, after menopause, you know, for women. And she's been taking calcium supplementation for forever. So I was like telling my mom, you know what, Mom? It doesn't seem to be working, right? This calcium supplementation. And then the papers start coming out, right?
Yeah.
The more milk you drink, the more brittle your bones become.
Yes, yeah.
Right? Because
I saw that paper.
you lack D3 and K2.
Yeah.
Right? Because K2 tells the body where to put the calcium. So instead of converting it into a stone, you know, or, you know, you peeing it out, if you can even pee it out, you know, it signals to the body, put the calcium into your bones.
Yeah.
So the proper K2, there's two types of K2, right? So there's K2 and the trans and cis K2. So you got to be very careful when you read the labeling as well, right? Because cis K2, cis methylquinone doesn't do anything. Yeah.
So that's why you got her on the other one, and
so
it seems
it's
to help.
very important.
Yeah.
So I got her onto that. I got my dad onto that as well, D3K2.
Oh, good. Very obedient parents you have.
Yeah, they just take. They would do their own research. Well, my mom would do her own research. My dad would. My dad would just be like, yeah, I'll just take it. You tell me to take it, you'll take it.
I haven't met anybody who read as many medical journals as you have, not even the doctors. But I'm sure you also realize when you're reading these journals, right? Every year there will be a conflicting study.
Yeah.
So that's why it becomes very confusing, and that's why you have to keep tailoring and adapting your protocol, because there will always be a new thing that proves and disproves.
That's why I like to think of myself as the ultimate experiment, right? So I'm reading all these papers, I'm understanding every single thing, but when I implement it on myself, I only have a sample size of 1.
Yes.
You know, and that is not good enough to, you know, be a voice to advocate this onto other people.
Yeah.
So I will always say, here, this is what I'm doing. You know, you can take a look at it. This is what I'm doing.
And you need to.
You got to do your own
try it for
research. You
yourself.
try it for yourself.
Yeah.
And if you die, you die. You know, unfortunately. For example, you OD on something. It's not my fault, right? Because I'm not prescribing anything to you. I'm just telling you what I do.
And you brought this whole manifesto. Can I have a look? Is there anything we haven't covered? This is my manifesto for looking younger. I love your skincare routine. You have more things than
I have more things than a lot of girls, you know.
you have tretinoin, you have retinol, hyaluronic acid.
I stopped doing the double tretinoin, retinol.
It's too, it causes too much redness, you think?
No, I think it's okay.
Okay.
If you take a look, I think my tretinoin is only 0.025.
Oh, okay.
I don't go too high a dose. My theory is that tretinoin converts into retinols. And after applying it. So I figure if I'm applying a retinol and a tretinoin, it's going to be a double effect. Which I've been doing tretinoin, retinols for, I don't know, a good 5 years right now.
But you have great skin.
Oh, thank you.
Your skin's so glowy.
It's
and I can attest it's not makeup. Mine is all makeup.
I got sunblock.
Okay, that's it. And I see your exercises, you are so exact. You actually will say shoulder press, 65 kg, 7 reps, 5 sets. I mean, you actually you want to work, you actually think it through. You want to work all your muscles clearly from your shoulders all the way down to your squats, all the glutes and the big muscle groups, right?
There is a rationale behind doing that.
Yeah.
So there is, I think, as I progress in this whole journey, my skincare will evolve, of course. You know, things like I just recently added on things like, and I'm not a huge fan because I think Botox can really stop the wrinkles and stuff like that.
Yes.
But I started doing arginine and matrixyl.
Yes.
Which is liquid Botox, right? If you think about it, and that it's not as effective.
It's not as effective, but it's okay. It's worth trying, you know.
Botox, to be honest. But
I like this part where it says training experiments, gua sha and oxygen concentration.
The oxygen concentration.
Is that a hyperbaric chamber?
I don't think hyperbaric chambers are that useful because you can only go for it so much, right? You can, I mean, how many people have hyperbaric chambers at home, right? Or you can go out for that.
Okay.
But I just bought like online this oxygen concentrator device, right? It's mainly used for in old age homes or for
Okay.
And what I do is that I pipe it into my room.
Yeah.
And I leave it on for 3 hours.
Okay.
And it's just shooting out a little bit of oxygen.
Yeah.
So it's increasing the concentration of oxygen in my room. And that's it. I have no idea whether or not
it
works.
does. Okay. Yeah.
There's zero clue.
Maybe try it when you're sleeping, see if it increases the theta waves during sleep.
I have a theta wave
monitoring
protocol.
device.
No, I play theta waves when I sleep once in a while.
Okay.
Theta waves,
Does that help?
It doesn't help it only helps if you're wearing headphones. Yeah,
Because
because
there's too much,
it's
yeah.
bi-oral, you see.
Yes.
So if it's not bi-oral, then you're
Yeah.
just playing it on the speaker, you're not gonna get any effect of it.
Okay.
So it becomes very uncomfortable because you don't want to sleep with headphones on.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Yeah, or earphones on. So I have a small log of the things that are experiments that I've been.
You are very
challenges.
scientific. You actually put what is experimenting, what you're doing. Oh,
This is only a small portion of the log because like,
Oh, right,
like
okay.
things like and my protocol has changed quite a fair bit, like gray hair reversal. So I did a whole year of copper peptides.
Yes.
So to
Oral again, right?
oral copper peptides.
Yeah.
To regress the gray hair.
Yeah.
So I've effectively regressed a lot of gray hair in this particular area.
Really?
But I still have a lot of gray hair on my sideburns. And
Well, I can't see any grey hair. I mean, not much.
yeah, very, very, very little, little. And I have one annoying strand in the front.
You actually count them?
No, because it's one.
Okay.
So I snipped that off because I'm one strand. So that's really annoying to have that one strand in the front.
I see.
And yeah, so nowadays I just stopped all the copper peptides because long-term usage of that is not going to be
Yeah,
good.
because you're already taking so much, right?
Yeah.
So the other thing I want to ask you, is about mental, because anti-aging isn't just physical. People also talk about mental. Do you add things like meditation or?
I think breathing exercise is very good.
Okay.
So I do a little bit of breathing exercises every single
okay.
day. I think a lot of my protocol in terms of the supplementation also help with cognitive abilities.
Yes.
I figured if I can function at the rate of a 20-year-old with the wisdom of somebody in my 40s,
Yes.
I can outperform my competition very easily.
Yeah, you definitely want the wisdom of somebody older, but you want...
Yes,
yeah.
I want to have cognitive abilities of a mid-20-year-old.
So now do you feel cognitively feel younger?
I think I'm very fast compared to my younger self.
Okay.
I do think that I won't consider myself as a very smart person,
Yep.
right?
But maybe you're just
I
being
think-
self-deprecatory.
No, I don't think that there are a lot of people which have brilliant ideas, right? But I want to be able to compete with some of them, right? And I want to be able to be as fast as some of them as
Right.
well. So I think it's the speed of your cognition kind of decreases the older you get.
Yeah.
I look at my dad and I look at my dad as a cautionary tale of what I don't, well, I mean, he's a very successful man, granted, but I see that he is naturally declining in his health, right? And I'm not sure whether or not it's because he's stubborn or he feels that it's not necessary, or maybe he just feels like it is a natural path that everybody has to take where they will naturally decline and, and your brain will waste away.
Yeah.
I do think that we should do as much as possible.
So what do you do to stop this mental decline? Is there any mental exercises or supplements that you're taking?
I take tyrosine, tyrosine for mental cognitive abilities. I do think that astaxanthin is also very good. Astaxanthin for the eyes. I'm doing an experiment on that, 14 milligrams every single day at the moment, which is a lot more than
all your doses seem to be on the higher side.
only for the experiments.
Okay.
Only for the experiments. If you look through my entire protocol, some of them are actually very modest doses.
Okay.
But 14 milligrams for that is just a short burst of about 60 days.
Okay.
Yeah, about 60 days. I don't go much more than that.
Yeah.
Cognitive, I'm using my brain every single day.
Yeah, I think if you use it, then you won't lose it.
Yeah, and breathing exercises. So I'm a big fan of Wim Hof.
I was about to ask you that.
The Wim Hof breathing methodology.
Yeah.
I don't have that much time to do an hour a day.
Yeah.
So I just do like 20 minutes or maybe even 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Some calm time by myself, just to breathe.
Do you feel you can handle stress better? Because you sleep well, so you have good nutrition.
I think it depends on the type of stress.
Okay.
I think emotional stress, I have yet to conquer that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to things like work stress, things within my control, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're stuck on a desert island, you can only bring like one or two of these anti-aging protocol. What would it be? Would you bring your supplements? Would you bring your Pico machine?
I bring a ton of red meat.
Red meat.
Yeah. I bring a ton of red meat.
So you are a firm believer that eating red meat is okay. Some people,
I think it depends on the kind of red meat.
yeah.
Right? If you go shopping with me, you find that I'm the most boring person to go shopping with.
What is it?
because
Grass-fed ribeye.
Grass-fed ribeye or grass-fed sirloin, minimal fat, you know. Wagyu is nice.
Yeah.
Doesn't serve any purpose apart from being nice.
Yeah.
So once in a while you can indulge,
Okay.
but that's an indulgence, right?
So you believe red meat is okay as long as it's of good quality?
If from good quality, grass-fed, doesn't have to be organic. because very hard to get organic meats nowadays. And everybody's peddling things like, oh, grain fed to make it juicy and tender, but that's not good for you.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm very intentional, right? Purpose driven for nutrition even.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't love a steak, right?
But you still manage to go out and have a social life, so it's some
once in a while.
flexibility.
Once in a while, I go out to have a social life.
Yeah.
I do think social life, as you get a little bit older, is a little bit overrated. And then you go out for some parties, you go out for some events, and that's about it.
Right.
I see my best friends maybe like once or twice a year, and that's about it.
Okay, that's very little.
That's very little. I mean, I have a lot of friends, so I see them often, but my closest friends, the ones that I grew up with, very little. They all have families, you know, they're busy.
Yeah.
I'm the only single guy in the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you sound like you're keeping yourself so busy with this whole protocol. I don't know if you really have time to have a social life. Maybe it's good you don't have so much of a social life, because then you can...
I think it only takes
these supplements.
it only takes like less than an hour a day.
Really?
Yeah, you know, things
I mean, I look at your fitness, I don't know if it takes an hour.
the fitness doesn't even take an hour.
Really?
the
I
fitness
think
is-
you're terribly efficient.
The fitness takes less than an hour, you know, if you think about it. I'm walking maybe 20 minutes a day.
Yeah.
My exercise is just, I can do it efficiently in about 35 minutes.
Yeah.
And then every few times a week, I do my joint flexibility and stuff like
Okay,
that.
so you
That's
spread
not
out.
a lot.
So for those people that are starting out on this anti-aging journey, that obviously don't have the money to get everything, and you have to advise them, what is like the 3 things they can do to help themselves go on embark on this anti-aging?
I think getting better sleep,
Sleep, yeah, I think so too.
controlling your vices.
Yeah.
Like if you smoke, if you drink, stop.
So definitely no
Stop.
smoking, no drinking. Bubble tea?
Yeah, that's terrible.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that's terrible.
terrible.
Bubble tea is terrible. But once in a while, I guess it's okay.
Yeah.
But you got to question yourself: do you actually need it?
Yeah.
Right? Do you need it, or you're just drinking it to feel good? Of course, if you want to regress, or you want to anti-age, you want to reverse your aging or slow down or halt the aging process, then you need to be intentional about every single thing that you do.
Yeah.
So like what I mentioned, to put yourself in a state where you can heal faster than you naturally decline.
Yes.
If you can heal faster than you naturally decline, you're essentially stopping aging.
Yes.
Right? And then you can do your age reversal.
Yeah.
And that's when energy devices, that's when more supplementation comes in. Yeah.
So to start is your get rid of the vices, sleep well,
Maybe take some creatine.
take some creatine. I think so too. Yeah, I think the creatine is very important.
I think everyone needs
and
creatine.
it is quite cheap, cost effective, not
Creatine is
not
cheap.
expensive.
It's cheaper than meat. It's cheaper than eating, you know. So creatine is something that everybody should be taking. I mean, they talk about things like water retention, things of like hair loss due to creatine. It's all rubbish.
Okay.
It's all rubbish.
Yeah,
But
I think it's very inspirational, because you're really empowering yourself to take this whole aging process into your own hands. You're not leaving it to fate, or you're actually very empowered to change it. Yeah.
Another thing which I disliked in the realm of, I wouldn't say anti-aging, but healthcare advice, is that's the thing, right? My dad was, he came back one day and he was like, oh, my doctor told me to exercise more. You know what? I'm going to climb the stairs one time.
Okay.
Come on, that's not, your
like my
doctor
dad.
doesn't prescribe you the quantity of exercise that you need. He just tells you do more of this. So by walking an extra 50 meters a day, is that enough? Nobody is ever going to tell you, or rather not in my experience, GPs, right, would never tell you, okay, this is how much I prescribe you for exercise. You should do this. Get your heart rate up to this amount for that long. They're not going to tell you this, because you know what? They don't know any of this. They don't know, or they won't tell you. They will say, oh, I think you should eat better. What does that even mean? You know, that means that's meaningless. That statement alone means nothing.
So they treat disease well, but they don't really know how to prescribe health either.
So they'll be like, your cholesterol is a bit high, eat less meat. But he doesn't have a baseline to compare. Maybe you're already not eating any meat, or maybe you're having like a piece of chicken a day. So what, you're supposed to not eat chicken a day? And then what do you replace it with? There's no evident and directional implementation. There's no action item that the doctor gives. So I'm not saying that, which is why we need to put health in our own hands.
Yeah.
And that's very important. Doctors, aesthetic doctors like yourself, you guys make people look better, and the treatments are very effective and almost very immediate as well.
Yes.
Of course, they have downtime and everything, but it's very evident to see that. But when it comes to things like your normal medical practitioners. They don't prescribe you anything to help with your health. They kind of just help you with managing symptoms of old age.
So the focus really has to shift from just managing disease to how to promote health.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's I just want to make sure that I'm doing the best I can, because it's an experiment.
And by doing that, I hope you inspire a lot more people to follow in your footsteps.
I'm trying to, which is why I said I want to launch a few things this next year, to some more media stuff and things like that.
Oh, we're looking forward.
You know, so that's something that I'm definitely, because I used to do a lot of food content on my Instagram, and now I've not posted in many years.
Oh, I think you should.
Yeah, so
I'm sure a lot of people will be
kind
interested.
of change that narrative around,
Yes.
because I don't think, while there's a large anti-aging and biohacking community in Singapore, I'm kind of like an outlier because I don't really interact with any of them. I mean, Brian Johnson was in town recently. He did his whole Don't Die Summit, and that was great, but I didn't attend.
Right.
Because like, I don't need to validate what I'm doing by going to a summit, because I already know what I'm doing. And I mean, yeah, I don't need any fad machines or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, the things which are tried and tested are things which I'm already doing, or things which are on the bucket list to do. You know, things like Fractal. Which I do think that Fractal can be done every 5 years or 4 years or something like that. I don't know. What's your recommendation?
Well, I mean, it depends on whether you have skin issues or not.
No,
you know,
no skin issue, just
for
fun.
some people, if they have acne scars, they're doing it monthly for 6 to 8 sessions. For other people, they're just doing for anti-aging, they do it once a year.
Once a year,
Yeah, so that's what they're doing. But I think it's very interesting to actually have this conversation and to start this conversation.
Cool.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, they want to do anti-aging, but maybe there's also a lot of stigma, and there's a lot of like you say, rubbish out there. They don't know what to follow. Yeah.
I think one of the things that it's a cautionary tale, people need to really be very careful about things that they are putting into their own bodies.
Okay.
Because like, I see so many supplements, and I don't think the government does enough to kind of control and regulate. You just look at the amount of things on Lazada or Shopee, you know, you can...
And sometimes they say anti-aging supplements, but you don't know what's inside. I think it's safer to actually know your stuff and go for magnesium glycine. Then you actually know what's inside, rather than these packaged.
No random proprietary blends or some stick formulas that you can just drink and stuff like that. There are some good ones out there for sure, but you know, there's a reason why just a couple hours ago, if you read the Straits Times, HSA pulled about 3,000 products from all the online platforms.
Yeah.
It's concerning because there's so little regulation, and there's so much hard selling of these of these interventions, supplementation interventions, that it is, people are just selling snake oil half the time.
And sometimes if you are talking about a difference in price, there's a reason why, like, people always ask me, how come this skincare has vitamin C, but it's 1/3 the price of your vitamin? There is a good reason. Same for supplements, I think. I'm not saying the cheap ones don't work, but if it's too cheap, then you have to wonder about the quality.
Yeah, and also whether or not what else is in there. You know, the pill size is always the same. What kind of fillers are they putting in?
What is inside?
Is it just cornstarch? You know, you don't want to be consuming cornstarch anyway. You know, in general. So,
and maybe that's also why we're seeing people with so many different responses. Like, I take glycine and I think it's great, and somebody else will take it and say no result. But maybe we should be looking at the brand of supplements you're taking first, and then, like you say, you're obviously giving your mom good collagen. That's why there's a difference. But I'm heard of people taking collagen and they say no difference. So,
So, and also like what we did mention earlier, consistency plays a large part of everything. In terms of consistency, like, if I would say the layperson, they would benefit from taking even a basic multivitamin. Right? But if they have to take that multivitamin every single day for 60 days. They can't just take it for 7 days and be like, you know what, it's not working. So I'm gonna
exercise and diet.
Exercise, diet, collagen. Collagen, of course, when you get into more complicated supplementation, you want to make sure you're getting the right types of collagen, for example. So I know collagen, you have types 18 and types 22. Those are bad for you. Those actually are carcinogenic to a certain extent. So you want to make sure that, and most supplementation brands only peddle type 1s and 3. So, and those are actually not for facial rejuvenation. So there's a few.
So that's why there's so many different types nowadays.
But so it really, you really need to do a lot of research in order to how you can,
And that's why I'm glad you're here to start the conversation. Yeah.
I'm just a very curious guy.
Yeah.
You know, I like to do my own things and experiment on myself. And,
Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you for coming. We are so happy to be able to talk to you. If there are any questions, please leave questions in the comments. We're happy to answer them. We'll also leave a link to Nicholas's Instagram, and then you can check out more about him soon. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Thank you for joining us on this journey inside the 60,000 biohacking routine of Nicholas Lin. From red light therapy to advanced at-home treatments, Nicholas has shown us that the pursuit of eternal youth is as much a science as it is a personal passion. If today's episode left you inspired or perhaps even shocked, don't forget to subscribe, share, and drop a comment on the most fascinating biohack you have heard. Remember, the journey to ageless living is closer than you think if you're willing to go the extra mile. Until next time, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and stay youthful.